Some stories begin with laughter, but this one begins with screams echoing through a mansion so large that footsteps usually disappear into silence. For months, no nanny had lasted longer than 3 days with the Walker twins, bright-eyed 8-year-old siblings whose mischief had turned into something darker since the loss of their mother. The mansion was filled with expensive art, polished floors, and sparkling chandeliers. But behind all that shine were 2 hurting children who pushed everyone away. And then came Maria, the maid who no one thought could make a difference. What happened next shocked even the millionaire father, and changed the twins' lives forever. Before we dive into this emotional true-style story, make sure you subscribe, like, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us keep sharing inspiring stories here on Whispers of Goodness. Thank you for being part of this community of kindness. The Walker mansion sat at the end of a quiet tree-lined street in Connecticut, peaceful from the outside but chaotic inside. Daniel Walker, a self-made millionaire in the tech industry, had everything money could buy, except peace in his own home. After losing his wife, Emily, to a sudden illness 2 years earlier, he tried to fill the void with tutors, therapists, counselors, and nannies. But nothing worked. The twins, Liam and Lily, had become known as the terrors of the house. They kicked teachers, spilled paint on carpets worth more than cars, and locked nannies in closets. Some people said they were spoiled. Others whispered they were broken. But Daniel was too consumed by work and grief to see the truth. Maria Alvarez entered the storm quietly. She wasn't hired as a nanny. She was just the new maid, an immigrant mother in her early 50s with gentle eyes, calloused hands, and a posture that suggested she'd carried more weight in life than her small frame should have allowed. Daniel hardly noticed her during the interview. He simply needed help cleaning the mansion since the last staff member had quit suddenly. On her first day, Maria heard the chaos before she even set down her cleaning supplies. Liam was shouting, Lily was crying, and a nanny was dragging 2 suitcases out the front door, muttering under her breath, "Never again, not even for double pay." Maria watched her leave, clutching her apron. She whispered a quiet prayer and stepped inside. For the first few days, she kept to her duties, dusting, sweeping, washing dishes, and staying out of the twins' way. But she couldn't help noticing things that others had ignored. Their shoes were always untied. Their toys were scattered, not from carelessness, but from the kind of frustration kids feel when they're desperate to be heard. Their drawings showed dark storms and broken hearts, and their eyes were shadows of childhood. One afternoon, Maria was sweeping the hallway when she heard a loud thud followed by silence. Silence was never a good sign in that house. She rushed into the playroom and found Liam sitting on the floor, blinking back tears. A picture frame had fallen and cut his hand. But as she knelt beside him with concern, he yanked his arm back. "Don't touch me," he snapped. Maria didn't flinch. She simply sat on the floor next to him, leaving enough distance to respect his fear. After a moment, she whispered, "You don't have to be brave right now. Sometimes even strong boys need help." Liam's lip quivered, and for the first time in months, he let someone clean his wound. From that day on, Maria didn't try to discipline the twins like the nannies before her. She didn't scold or order them. Instead, she listened, she watched, she learned. One morning, she found Lily crying under the dining table. "Everyone leaves," Lily whispered. "They all say we're monsters." Maria slid underneath the table with her, her knees cracking softly. "You are not monsters," she said warmly. "You are hurting, and hurt feels big when it's trapped inside." Lily threw her arms around her, surprising even herself. Slowly, a bond formed. It started small. Liam began following her around the kitchen, asking questions about her cooking. Lily helped her fold warm laundry straight from the dryer. They sat with her while she polished silverware and told stories about her daughter back home studying to become a nurse. They listened, wide-eyed, soaking in every word. Daniel started to notice changes too. The yelling decreased, the tantrums softened, the nightmares faded. One evening, after returning from a long business trip, he found the 3 of them sitting on the living room floor building a puzzle of the night sky. Liam was laughing, Lily was leaning against Maria's shoulder, and Maria was smiling gently, like she had always belonged there. Daniel stood frozen, speechless. The twins hadn't smiled like that since Emily died. He cleared his throat, and the room shifted. The twins ran to him, showing him the puzzle and tugging at his sleeves. Maria quietly stood and stepped back, wanting to give them space. Daniel looked at her with gratitude, confusion, and something else, relief. That night, he knocked on her small room near the kitchen. "I don't understand how you did it," he said honestly. "Everyone else failed." Maria lowered her gaze. "They are good children, sir. They just miss their mother. Sometimes the heart cries louder than the voice." Daniel swallowed hard. He hadn't let himself think about that. He drowned himself in work to avoid facing his guilt, the guilt of not being enough for his children. The next morning, things took an unexpected turn. Maria arrived to find the twins waiting at the top of the stairs, dressed and smiling. "We made breakfast," Lily announced proudly. "Not very good breakfast," Liam admitted. "But we tried." The kitchen was a disaster. Flour everywhere, pancakes burnt, eggs half raw. But the effort was genuine. They handed her a plate shaped more like a charcoal disc than a pancake. "For you," Lily said. Maria pressed a hand to her heart. "It's perfect. For the first time in years, the mansion felt like a home again, but peace is fragile." 1 week later, Daniel came home holding a thick folder. "Maria," he said gently, "I found someone new, a professional therapist nanny, hybrid, highly trained. I think it's time the twins get real help." His words cut deeper than he knew. Maria smiled politely, but her eyes dimmed. "Of course, sir, I understand." The twins overheard. That evening, when Daniel entered the living room, he found them sitting on the couch, arms crossed, faces red. "We don't want another nanny," Liam shouted. "They don't care about us," Lily cried. "They never stay, only Maria stays." Daniel sat down heavily. "Kids, Maria isn't trained the same way. She shouldn't have to carry all this alone." Liam stomped his foot. "But she loves us." Those words froze Daniel. He turned to Maria, who had tears in her eyes she tried to hide. In that moment, Daniel realized something he had been blind to. Kindness often heals more deeply than training ever could. The next morning, he gathered the three of them at the dining table. "I made a mistake," he admitted, voice thick with emotion. "There's no one more qualified to help you than the person who already has." He looked at Maria. "If you're willing, I'd like to promote you. Not as a nanny, but as part of this family." Maria gasped, covering her mouth. The twins cheered and hugged her so tightly she nearly lost her balance. From that day on, everything changed. Maria became more than a maid. She became a guiding light in their lives. She taught the twins to cook simple meals, to share their feelings, and even to honor their mother by planting a small garden in the backyard. Daniel joined them on weekends, wiping sweat from his forehead, while Lily planted flowers, and Liam dug holes too big for the seedlings. Slowly, the mansion stopped feeling like a museum of grief. It became a home filled with memories, laughter, and hopeful mornings. One sunny afternoon 6 months later, the twins surprised Maria with a handmade picture frame. Inside was a photo of all four of them standing in the garden, smiling. On the frame, written in colorful letters, were the words, "Thank you for loving us when we didn't know how to love ourselves." Maria wept openly as she held the frame close. Daniel placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You saved my children," he said softly. "And you saved me too." Kindness doesn't always come from those with fancy degrees or perfect resumes. Sometimes it comes from someone who chooses to listen, someone who chooses to stay, someone who believes love can reach even the most hurting hearts. Maria didn't just clean a mansion. She cleaned the wounds no one else saw. And in return, she found a family she never expected. May this story remind us that kindness costs nothing but can change everything. Be gentle, be patient, be someone's reason to hope again. Thank you for watching, and remember, spread love wherever you go.